let's see here. So I think we're set up. I'm trying to get it pulled up on my phone so that I can see the comments because it doesn't always show me on the computer. All right, so that should be good. Make sure the sound is down. All right, so funny story, not so funny story. We'll see how this works out. I plugged my computer in this morning at whatever time to make sure that it had plenty of battery. And apparently, I bumped the cord at some point and it ran out of battery while I was off getting ready. So I have like 2% battery right now. So if it gets disconnected, I'll come back on with my phone instead. But hopefully that won't happen. It is connected right now. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so welcome everyone to the little yarn and color live stream. I'm going to talk about the yarn that I chose for the Hello Summer beach bag. And if you haven't checked out the Ravelry page yet, there is a link there to spoiler pictures if you don't want it to be a mystery. Because I know I'm not always I don't really get on the mystery train board or the mystery train because I don't know. I want to see what I'm getting into, right? I've done precisely one full mystery project, and it was literally just a flower, like a little pin that I put on my shirt when I was done several years ago for, I think it was National Crochet Month, International Crochet Month. So yeah, that's the only time I've ever done a mystery crochet along, and it was just this itty bitty thing. So yeah, I'm not big into the whole secret thing. I've done a couple mystery yarn clubs, but that was because I was interested in the theme, like the blanket, the Color Theory blanket, which has been renamed. That is going to be coming out in wait, it is August now, September. So next month, I think, is when that pattern will release. But that was the Color Theory club, and so it's like, all right, I know that I'm going to get a range of colors, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I can do rainbow. I can do a rainbow theme. So I went ahead and did that and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, mysteries not really my thing. So even though this crochet along is set up with clues dropping each week for 4 weeks, so the bag is broken up into 4 parts. We're going to start with the bottom, then we're going to start building the sides, switch colors, and then we're going to do the sides, and then we're going to switch colors again and do the handles. So you'll get starting next Thursday, so the 4th, August 4th, that's when the next, or rather the first clue will drop. And it should automatically update in your Ravelry library if you have already pre-ordered the pattern. So when you pre-order the pattern today or this week, or in the next week, I guess, when you pre-order the pattern, you will get a file that shows the yarn, sneak peek, and it's basically the first 2 pages or 3 pages, I guess, of the pattern except for the pictures. So it'll be the suggested materials, so all the yarn info, sizing, gauge, and the stitches that we'll be using. So that's what you'll get when you pre-order the pattern. So it's all the information that you need to shop for your yarn, stash dive for your yarn, and do a swatch if you want to. I'm not going to hold it against you if you don't, because it's a bag. We don't need it to fit. If you want to just jump in and be happy with whatever size you get, then that's cool. So, hi Trish. I have comments. Yay. And then Marina, I think that's probably you from Yarn Matters. Marina is who I reach out to at Yarn Matters, my old local yarn store in Williamsburg, Virginia. I worked there. I taught for her for a couple years, and I think we left in 2019. It was right before the pandemic hit. So we're on our second move now since then. If you don't know me already, if you're new here, my husband's in the military, and so we move every couple years. So when I lived in Virginia, when we were there, that was the last time I had a local yarn store. We moved from there to Texas, to Fort Hood, and nothing. And then, sorry, mail delivery was here. And then now we're in Fort Irwin, California, in the middle of the Mojave Desert. No yarn store in sight. So I reached out to Marina and was looking for yarn for this project because I've used Hampton before. So this is by Cascade Yarns, and it is 70% Pima cotton and 30% linen. It's a DK weight yarn, and so I worked this up using a D hook, which is 3.25 millimeters, I think, is what size that is. So this is a little bit smaller than your kitchen cotton, and so it has a really nice drape. So I did a bag, the Ultimate Market bag. Gosh, I don't remember when I published that pattern, but it was my first market bag pattern, my first bag pattern, way back when, and I have been using my original prototype for well over a decade. That thing is so tough. I made it with kitchen cotton, and it's really sturdy. So it would make a decent beach bag too, but I kind of want, so that one has a round bottom, and I wanted to experiment with a couple different sizes. So like when I take it to the grocery store and I'm putting boxes of cereal in it or crackers or whatever, they don't fit very well because it's a round bag. So it's like, I want to experiment with a different shape. So that is what you're going to see with this bag. And also with this lighter weight yarn, it gives me more real estate, so to speak, for the filet crochet stitches in the body of the bag, which allows me to have more creative, creativity with the design, or in the case of my size 4 sample, that if you peeked at the spoiler pictures, you know it says Hello Summer on one side and it says Beach Please on the other. So the pattern, when we get to that, will include instructions, a little chart for how to do the filet crochet stitches to give you those words. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit more about the yarn. This is ecru, right? And so this is just the natural undyed color. And I really liked using this before. And so I wanted to pair it with kind of a beachy color, right? And so I picked, this is my leftover, this kind of sea green color. And it's called Opal is what this color is. So when paired together, we get this really fun, beachy, sea glass type color combo. Now I did do a second sample with another color. This is coral. And so this is a little bit brighter of a color combination, but I really like how this one turned out too. Now you can swap these around. You can do whichever color you want first. So we have 2 colors for this bag. We have in my size 4 sample, the big one, the beach bag, right? So I have the ecru as the bottom, and then the opal as the center, the sides, the body of the bag. So that's where the words are. And then ecru again for the handles. So that's how I did it on that one. And then for my other sample, I swapped them around. And so I used the coral for the bottom and the handles, and then I had the ecru in the center. And I'm hoping that I can make another sample in size 3, so it's a little bit smaller, and use the ecru in the center so I can kind of compare how the words show up between the yarn in color and the yarn in the natural dye, because it's subtle, right? Because it's filet crochet, and so if you're carrying the bag, you don't necessarily see what it says. So it could be like your secret message on your bag, only you know what it is. Trish, you love both colors. I do too. I mean, that's why I ended up going with 2 different color combinations, because I like them both. This one was my original idea. And also, I think this would be really pretty with like a navy blue or a Dutch blue or something like that. I think that would also be a cool nautical type color combination. But I know Marina has something like 8 different colors available in her shop right now. If you're not local to Williamsburg, you can order it online from her. I did drop a link to that into the video description, so you can find that there. And of course, I'm sure you can find it other places like webs.com, or maybe in your local yarn store. Or if you want to switch out and do a different yarn, look in your stash first, y'all. I'm serious. It's a bag pattern. It doesn't have to be precise sizing. So if you've got a nice plant-based fiber that's not too stretchy, right? You don't want it to stretch and stretch and stretch forever like alpaca. So I like cotton. The kitchen cotton, so like sugar and cream. So I've got, let me grab those. I meant to grab one before. Let's see if I can reach it. I probably can't even reach it. Nope, I can't reach it. Oh, here's one that is in progress. So these cones of yarn, right? Kitchen cotton. And then you can also get them in the smaller bits as well. But I've got a couple of these, and they make a pretty good sized bag by themselves. You could probably do, let me see, the size 1 and size 2, I think you could do with one of those cones of yarn. I'm not sure if you could do the 3, but the bigger size you choose, I mean, this is a heavier weight yarn, right? So you need to use a larger crochet hook. So I used a size D for this yarn, and I would probably use a F at the smallest for the kitchen cotton. So that's automatically going to make your bag bigger, right? So I started a sample to kind of see, and I used the kitchen cotton and followed the pattern for size 1, and it was really close to my finished sample size 2, using the smaller yarn. So if you decide to go for the size 4, the big beach bag size with kitchen cotton yarn, is going to be really super extra big. So just keep that in mind, and no, I don't have any idea how much yarn you would need for that with this yarn. So Trish, yay, you should definitely check out her shop. Highly recommend. I love teaching there, and just hanging out. Is a great yarn store. So definitely check it out if you're in the Williamsburg area. All right, so let's talk about how many skeins that you need. This is 100 grams, 273 yards, or 250 meters. All right, so you could do a bag with just 2 of these skeins. You would want to do the simple mesh pattern for the body of the bag, but I'm going to test it out and see if you can actually get close to the same size. I'm going to use this actually and see how far I get. That's about half a skein that was left over from my size 4 sample. So the size 2, what did I use? I used three skeins. Right, so I used 2. This was my main, no, this was my color. No, it's the other way. Sorry. Okay, yes. All right, I used the coral from the bottom and the handles, and then I used these 2 for the center of the bag. And I did a geometric pattern, so just with the filet crochet stitches there. And so it used a lot of yarn. I used all of this yarn. Seriously, this is what was left over with that size 2 sample. Okay, so if you think you might have a loose gauge, or you want to have extra wide straps, then definitely get yourself an extra skein of yarn or 2, because this is really all I had left from these 3 skeins for the size 2 bag that I did. Now, if you wanted to do the size 1 bag and do a full pattern, then I'd again recommend 3. You can get away with 3 for the size 2, but it's close. It's close. Yarn chicken. For the size 3, I haven't worked the sample yet, but I'm going to say 2 and 2 or 2 and 3, because I used 2 and 3 for the size 4 bag, and I used 2 skeins of the ecru for the bottom and the handles, and so this is what I had left from that. And then I had 3 skeins of the opal for the body of the bag, and this is, I had about a little less than half a skein left of this. So 2 and 3 at a minimum for the size 4, because yeah, that was all I had left of the ecru. Now, another thing that I want to point out about this yarn that I've noticed, these undyed skeins run over 100 grams. So most of these were like 104, 105 grams even. These ones, less. So 99 grams, 95 grams. I mean, I don't know why, because it was with both colors, but they do both run a little bit less than 100 grams. Whereas this one runs a little bit more than 100 grams. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing colors, if you're trying to do one of the smaller bags and you only want 3 skeins, just remember that it was it was really close for me, and that these do tend to run a little bit with a little bit more yardage than the colored ones for some reason. So, okay, I think that's all I need to tell you about yarn. Of course, color combos, the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want to do. And stitches, the stitches that you'll need are pretty basic, single and double crochet. I like a nice dense base to my bags, so that's going to be all single crochet is what we're going to start out with. And then we'll do a few increases, a few decreases in places, but increases are just 2 stitches in the same space. And decreases are 2 or 3 stitches worked together. I break that down in the pattern, so you'll have that information when you get the pattern. Let's see. I do use a standing single crochet to join my color on. You don't have to do it that way. You could join with the slip stitch. And I use a chainless double crochet when I'm working in the filet crochet section. And y'all, if you've never done filet crochet, it's easy. It's just double crochets, and they're like pixels, right? So you have a double crochet and a chain 2 and a double crochet, and this makes this little square, right? And then if you want to fill it in, you do 4 double crochets. So your repeat is basically either chain 2, skip 2, double crochet, or 3 double crochets in a row. All right, and so you just use these blocks of 3 stitches. A square is 4 stitches, so it's the double crochet and the chain 2 and the double crochet, but your repeat is just 3 stitches at a time, right? Because you need to repeat that square because you've got the one on the one side, and it's worked in the round. So you want a multiple of 3. If you're doing modifications before you start the filet crochet stitch rounds, you just need to have a multiple of 3. I talk more about it in the pattern. You'll have all that info there. Trish, looks like it will be fun. Yes, I hope so. Gosh, I don't remember. So I think it took me about an hour to do the bottom for the size 1 sample. Then I started a few days ago. And then I think it was more like 4 hours for the size 4 bottom. So if that plays into how much time you want to put into making a bag, that's something else to consider is you're going to put a lot more time into the size 4 bag. It's a beach bag. All right. So I posted a poll in my Facebook group. And by the way, if you haven't joined us there, please do. There should be a link in the video description. But I posted a poll in there and I was like, all right, here are the size options for the bag that I'm planning, because they all voted on doing a beach bag for the crochet along. I was like, okay, well, here we go. I guess I'm doing another bag pattern. But so your options are either 4 inches or 6 inches, or maybe it's 6.5 inches for the depth of the bag, so how wide the bottom of it is, or I do it in multiples of 4. So yeah, there's 8 inches, 12 inches, 16 inches, and 20 inches. So your big beach bag is about 20 inches wide and about 6.5 inches deep, right? And so that's a pretty big footprint for a bag. But I'm short. I'm only 5 feet. And I can carry it on the beach, and it doesn't like hit my ankles or anything real crazy. But it is a big beach bag. But yeah, I posted this poll and I was like, here are the sizes that I'm thinking about doing for the bag. Which size would you pick? Nobody picked the beach bag, the big one. Everybody picked the 2 sizes in the middle. So I was like, oh, well, I didn't even need to go as big as I did. But there it is for those of you who really do want a nice big beach bag. And again, if you substitute that kitchen cotton or something else that is more of like a worsted weight yarn, that's automatically going to make it bigger. But I'm telling you, this size 4 with this yarn, it's yeah, it'll hold at least 3 beach towels for sure. Thank you, Marina. It was great to, well, I can't see you, but thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, if anybody has any questions about yarn choices, color options, ask. Drop questions on the video here if you're new to you're new to me, you can drop questions here. You can direct message me. I'm kind of in and out. Janet, you'd like to see the bag. This is mystery style crochet along. So everything that you see on social will be kind of doled out. But because I know we don't all love mysteries, there are spoiler pictures available in my Ravelry group. So if you go to the pattern page on Ravelry, read the text in the description, the notes, and there will be a link there that goes to the Ravelry group that has spoiler pictures that you can click on to see pictures of the bag, because I totally get that not everybody wants to jump into a mystery crochet along. So those are for you, like me, who want to know exactly what they're getting into. So that's where you can find those. And actually in the video description, I think I put a link to the Ravelry group there as well. So you can just pop on there and that will take you over. You probably will have to be logged in to do that though. Okay. All right, I don't see any more comments, any new comments, any questions? Last call for questions. I'm really excited about doing this with you guys. I'm hoping to do a few giveaways as well. That's kind of going to depend on how much participation we have, how many giveaways I'll be able to do. But I'm hoping to do at least a couple. I'm going to put together some stitch marker sets. Oh, that's my my family is home. I'm going to put together some stitch marker sets. I used a set of 3 of the same color for the 3 corners, a 4th one in a different color for the 4th corner, and then I used an additional stitch when I was doing the increase rounds. So 5 stitch markers, 2 that are separate colors or distinctive somehow, to kind of make it easier for you to keep track of where you are. Let's see. Janet new here. Yes, absolutely. Check it out. And if you have questions, just let me know. Just reach out, okay? I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And if you have trouble getting to the spoiler pictures, let me know that too. I'll help you out as best I can. So, all right. Yeah, stay tuned. I'll pop back on here for another live stream next Friday. We'll talk about the first step, and hopefully I will have a giveaway for you as well. So, let's get started. Go check it out. Let me know if you have questions, and I will see you around. Oh, tag me if you post pictures you buy your yarn this week. Tag me so that I can follow along with your progress. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys make. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.